So, welcome to the
you.
Hypefish studio in all its glory.
Yeah, hoping for a better background.
Right, that's right. Yeah, this
white.
is really green screen. You're seeing white. I'm trying to buy some like fishes, so we'll be in an aquarium or something later on. Still working all this stuff out. Thanks again for joining. Thanks for coming to the office as well.
Thanks for being here.
Have you raced Brian yet on Forza?
Yeah, he beat me once in a Datsun. So.
Yeah, you got to hate it when your CEO does that. And it's my fault that they have this in here because I had it. We've been around my house. I have one of these set ups at home, and Brian had to outdo me and buy two and put them in the home enjoyment. So it's a good break from the everyday of what goes on in a workplace, I guess.
From a long day of coding today.
Yeah, that's right. So you're up here, Redmond. It's public knowledge that there's a SharePoint developer kitchen going on.
Yeah.
The content of it is secret squirrel.
It's secret, but it's
you guys
great.
will come in here today smiling, so I'm hoping everyone's in the right direction.
We've been having a lot of fun these last 2 days, and hopefully tomorrow as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed with your blogging, you've been doing, I don't know where you get time to do this, but you've been doing a ton of stuff with Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
Now we've done a few YouTube videos already around Microsoft Teams. Specifically more from an end user perspective, but what I've seen that's really cool is much like when I kind of proof of concept the Yeoman generator for the building Office add-ins, you've kind of done a Yeoman generator for Microsoft Teams.
Exactly, yeah. There's coming out a great extensibility story with Teams, I think, and I since the last year I converted to the Node.js and TypeScript world and etc. And there's no easy way right now to build stuff for Teams. So just to make it easy for myself, I created a generator so I could create tabs and bots and custom bots right now. So there's essentially 4 different parts of Microsoft Teams which you can extend. You can create custom tabs, which are basically a web page or a set of web pages.
Yeah, think of it like an iframe for the whole channel.
You could iframe in your whole solution or SaaS app or whatever into there.
Yeah.
We have the connectors, the same as Office 365. So essentially webhook with some information to feed data in, so you can get stuff. Then we have 2 kind of bots, the normal .NET bot frameworks or bot framework, build them in .NET or in Node.js or whatever. And you have the new thing called custom bots as well, which is almost like a bot. Yeah, it's if you don't want to go into the whole bot framework pieces and work with messages and dialogues and that kind of stuff, the custom bots are essentially a webhook, an endpoint where you can post a message. So you set up a web service listening to that endpoint. You get a message in, so you can send some. Yeah, it's simple, and you focus those on a single team, so to say.
Right.
You can use the full bot framework if you want to use dialogues and messages and activities and that kind of stuff. But if you just want to get up and running fast with a bot that listens to or listens to your question and gives an answer back. So.
And so this Yeoman generator is creating the scaffolding, I guess, to get started. We can just like start coding.
Yeah. So what I've done is that it scaffolds out if you want the tab. It scaffolds out all the requirements for that, and using with the themes management, and also a bot if you want that, or a custom bot. But also including settings, so you can just set up a Git deployment with Azure. So you just commit your code and push it to Azure. So it's up and running with Node.js Express directly.
Wow, that's clever.
Yeah. So within a few minutes, you're up and running with tabs and bots in Azure.
And so what kind of things have you been building that you can talk about publicly?
Yeah, so far it's more exploratory.
Yeah.
The extensibility story is not fully, it's in preview.
Yeah.
Teams is GA, but the extensibility story is in preview.
Okay.
But we're looking into hooking into SharePoint, for instance, so you can get more SharePoint data out there, or take a look at the custom applications that we build. If we're building them for SharePoint, such as web parts, etc., why shouldn't we have a tab for that in Teams as well?
Right. Yeah, and I noticed, like for instance, now you can create a tab which is a web URL tab and chuck a SharePoint page in there and basically embed a SharePoint site.
Yeah, and also
that gives you the whole extensibility model of a SharePoint environment there.
And also now bots are much more. We get a broader reach with a bot hosting platform with Teams, since we don't have that in Skype for Business yet.
Yeah.
So the bots are something that I see our customers are starting to talk about and asking about, etc.
And you can add, like when they first released a preview, you could only build a bot that an individual could talk to in the chat aspect. But then they announced prior to GA actually that you could add a bot to a channel, which meant that I could be having a discussion with like the kayak bot, for instance, as an example, asking about flights. but then you could kind of chime into that same thread and be like, actually, I really like this time of flight, and then we could kind of dig in more in the kayak.
So far, you need to mention the bot in the channel.
It does it's not that intuitive on the replies, right?
No, there's some questions about that, but also they are not doing passive bots right now, for that reason that it might be, since it's listening to everything in the channel, if you go to the enterprises, they probably don't like that kind of bots.
So a passive bot is that notion of that.
So it's not really available
It's not like now. I mean, we all know that Apple does it, like with Siri and so forth. You know, like we'd be talking in the car about Domino's, and you open up your iPhone and like go to the Facebook app, and Domino's ads are on your apps. You're like, what? How does it know that? And it's because it's kind of doing
that is security issue. Hopefully we get there in the future. So. There's some things about governance around bots that they need.
It'd almost be like the Clippy, like, did you mean? I noticed that you and Wictor are talking about something, and ding, here's some information from SharePoint that will help, or Power BI, or whatever.
But I see bots as a great way to do new integrations in a whole new different way, like getting your stuff on your CRM system or whatever.
And they demoed at the preview announcement back in, I guess, November the WhoBot, which was basically a way of querying Active Directory to get information about individuals. And I thought it was a really compelling story. And obviously with Hyperfish, I'm like, yes, that's great, because if people query for phone numbers are not there, like Hyperfish can help. But what other scenarios have you seen that you have seen vendors building and that have been demoed by Microsoft?
I would say, the primary thing that we talk to clients about are the internal support bots. Normally you have a help desk center, you call them and they tell you to reboot your computer. Why can't a bot
get lift music?
And you have to wait for it. You cannot scale people in that way. So I would say the first tier of support could be totally replaced by bots. Or with dialogues and that.
Because you could walk you through a series of, and then turn your machine off. Okay, did that not work? Okay, now do uninstall blah or whatever.
Exactly. And also doing that, then escalate to a human in the end. Probably some issues you can't solve with a bot. And there are great services to do that. I just did the other day a demo where we first took the chat message into Bing Translation, so I could type in Swedish and then pass that to Lewis. And Lewis is a Microsoft Cognitive Service that does language recognition and finds out intents and etc. entities from your text. And that only works in the 7 largest languages, such as English. So Swedish is not on that map. But I translated it with Bing Service and fed it into Lewis, and I could from that make a decision tree on support, for instance. And I did that in less than an hour, thanks to the generator that scaffolded everything out for me. Lewis is so intuitive, using the cognitive service as well.
So there's some really good use cases of like, I mean, I know the world is like, everything has to be an app, and you'll hear Jeff Teeper talk about SharePoint is like in your pocket now. And I think, there's this new wave saying that, no, it's not apps, and apps are dead, and it's all about bots. What's your take on like the web versus apps versus bots?
I see a combination of it. Today, I used a bot in one of the demos I built today. Can't tell you what I built, but it fit nice into that scenario. That was a complement to the rest of the solution, and feeding that kind of intelligence. And bots are easy in that way that you can have several hosts for them. They can live in Teams, you could have them in WhatsApp, in Facebook.
It doesn't matter.
Specifically if you're talking to the consumer market. You want to be on all platforms. You don't want to build an iOS app or an Android or Windows Phone app to the 1% that still has it. But you can have so many channels, and the Microsoft Bot Framework are great. You just turn on, I want it in Slack, in Facebook, WhatsApp, etc.
And so what would you recommend a developer that's like brand new to Teams, say that, I mean, our audience is majority of SharePoint development. How much of a learning curve is there to jump into Microsoft Teams development?
Microsoft Teams development is fairly simple. If you take a look at tabs, that's very small JavaScript library. Essentially in web page, and you do just as you did before with the ASP.NET MVC, build your app there, and you have JavaScript hooks just to render the initial page, etc. Otherwise, you can do everything server-side just as normal. So it's a very easy learning curve. When it comes to bots, we have a great .NET SDK and even a Node.js SDK for bots as well. So I would say bots is very easy to programmatically make. The hard part is to making the intelligence, making them smart.
Cool. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on.
Awesome.
There is pizza and beer outside. I'm between you and more beer. So I wanted to grab you on. We hit the 10-minute mark bang on.
Cool.
So we'll definitely get you on a podcast later in the year. I'd love to hear some of the things that you've been doing, like once all that technology is GA, the extensibility. And I think the scenarios that you're working with your customers is really interesting for people to hear about. So appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time.
Being here. Thanks.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.